Yes, well, as the Kosovo refugee situation continues to escalate, we are hearing that airlifts will be getting underway, and several countries will be stepping in to bring some of those refugees looking for a safe haven into their own domain. The refugee crisis is being called the worst humanitarian disaster since World War II, but despite the bombs, the violence continues. Joining us now with some perspective on the effects all of this is having on the world community, we are joined now by former New York Congressman and President of the Albanian American Civic League, Joseph DioGuardi, and human rights lawyer and NYU professor Arthur Helton. Gentlemen, welcome. Nice to have you here.
Nice to be here.
Congressman, we're hearing reports now that several countries are stepping in, including the United States, to take some of these homeless refugees out of the area and bring them into to safer havens so that at least they can be sheltered and fed. Your reaction to this?
Well, it has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? But this is exactly what Mr. Milosevic wants. I waved this on several programs, the expulsion of the Albanians. This is the paper prepared by the Serbian regime since 1937.
Yes.
We will do exactly then what Milosevic wants, and he will then come up with some plan to petition Kosovo. Listen, I can't understand NATO and the United States. We seem to be doing everything wrong at this point, except for the initial bombing. Why didn't we know that not committing ground troops would allow Milosevic to clean out Kosovo? Why aren't we arming the Kosovo Liberation Army as we did the Croatians in the Bosnian War? I mean, is NATO so stupid that it would implement a strategy that would achieve the opposite of its announced goals? This is what's happening. And maybe they're not telling us the truth. Maybe these stories about Holbrooke meeting privately last year in England, there was some castle they went to make some deal that they could wipe out the KLA last summer so Milosevic could finally have his way, because there was some unholy strategy unannounced that we had to keep a large Muslim state from forming in the middle of Europe from Bosnia to Albania. These are moderate people. They look to the West. They're democratic. Why are we tagging them with this idea that they're fundamentalist Muslims?
You can ask all these questions, but the reality is we have these thousands of refugees who are now seeking safer havens, and it's a situation that has continued, that has spiraled out of control at this point, and it appears the Allies never expected such a catastrophe to take place, Arthur.
Look, the diplomats, the politicians, and the military planners have to come to realize that the refugee emergency is going to be dictating strategies and tactics for the next period. We are perhaps at the beginning of the middle phase, or the end of the beginning phase of this humanitarian crisis. Over the next few weeks, we will see play out a number of policy proposals, whether or not there should be protected internal enclaves in Kosovo, but that would require the introduction of ground troops, how we can make sure that the Macedonian border stays open, and that's why we are beginning to discuss resettling or accepting on a temporary basis asylum seekers in other countries, Norway, Germany, Turkey, the United States. And these are the kinds of issues that will drive the policy as the next 300,000 to 600,000 ethnic Albanians make their way to the border.
Uma, I'm a certified public accountant. I think I know how money is spent. It would cost us a fortune to take 100,000 refugees from there and put them in the United States and other NATO countries. It would be much simpler to work with the Prime Minister of Albania. He's announced this, Pandeli Michael. He'd be willing to take as many refugees. We could build the facilities there, leave those facilities to the poorest country in Europe after these refugees return. We cannot allow these refugees to leave the area. They will never return. History has shown us that. They must stay there, and every one of them must be returned to Kosovo. I am writing a letter today to President Clinton to let him know that we've made too many blunders already. Don't make this one. You'll be walking right into the trap that Milosevic has set.
Well, there are some reports, though, that the ground troops, if they do go there, and even using peacekeeping troops, that they would be used to escort some of these refugees back to Kosovo. Your response to that? Could that work? What would they be going home to?
Well, right now that's like Alice in Wonderland. That's not a reality. Certainly we want that to happen. You can't do it now while the Serbs still have any kind of police presence or troop presence. Rambouillet was wrong to say that they would leave 4,000 Serbian troops there. As far as we're concerned, and the Albanian American community is concerned, Rambouillet is dead. Independence is what the Kosovars want, and they want to go back. Everyone wants to go back to their homes. Listen to the refugees being interviewed. They say, keep bombing Milosevic. Yes, we will go back to our homes. This is their ancestral lands. They've been there for 10,000 years. Don't believe the propaganda of Slobodan Milosevic. He's poisoned the minds of the Serbian people, and he certainly poisoned the minds of the Serbian American people. I can't imagine what I'm hearing from the Serbian Unity Conference and these organizations.
But on that point, we are hearing reports that there are also Serbian refugees who are fleeing the area now, trying to seek shelter, and that they've been displaced as well, and that there was a human rights report that came out from the UN High Commission that both the Serbs and the Albanians are to blame for atrocities over the years that have been committed against one another, Arthur.
Absolutely not.
Look, what you have here, if you take any lessons from the conflict in Croatia or in Bosnia and Herzegovina, this is going to be very difficult for people to return to their homes. They may be able to return to some places, not their places of origin, not exactly their homes, but this will be re-engineering Kosovo, redefining Kosovo. That's what this conflict is about. It's a question of ethnic re-engineering.
Uma, Serbs are not being shot in the streets the way Albanians are. If you looked at the films that came in from the BBC, those are credible films. There are mass executions going on right now. I can assure you that's not happening. The KLA has not done that. If the KLA was a terrorist organization, why is every sacred monastery of the Serbian people still up today? Not one of them has been bombed. It's not the way of the Albanian people to terrorize other people. They've never been aggressors to anybody else. This is all propaganda of the Serbian propaganda machine.
I have just a few seconds left. Let me ask you really quickly. Do you think these airlifts will accomplish much, and the fact that the efforts are underway now to rescue some of these people, is that not at least something in the face of this incredible catastrophe that we're facing right now?
Absolutely. We must do everything we can, bring food, basic necessities, but don't remove the refugees from their ancestral homelands. They must be returned right now. Get the troops in there, our troops, NATO troops, remove all of the Serbs from there, and let Kosovo be independent and arm the KLA, and then you'll see peace and stability, because the Albanians look to the West and democracy. Milosevic is looking to Russia.
All right, gentlemen, on that note, we have to end the discussion, but I thank you both for joining us with your insights. Certainly a very troubling and disturbing situation that's taking place right now. We appreciate your thoughts.
Thank you.